Hello, I'm Tamara Galloway from London, England, and I'm going to show you the Pro Tools channel strip and the signal flow through it. First of all, the sound comes into the first part of the I/O section, in this case through built-in microphone 1. Then the sound goes into the insert section, which is for dynamic or filter effects, and these are processed one by one from the top to the bottom, which is known as serial processing. And by default, these are all pre-fader effects. So if I decide that I'm going to have an EQ first, and I'll be daring and choose a 7-band EQ, and then I'm going to have my compressor second. I'm going to have compressor limiter DIN 3, then that means that Pro Tools will process the EQ first, followed by the compressor. Then the sound goes to the send section, and there's two types of sends. There's pre-fader sends and post-fader sends. And I'll deal with pre-fader sends here, since they come before the fader. And these will normally be for things like a monitor mix, for example for a vocalist or for a guitarist, and they're not affected by the position of the fader at all, so that they just remain the same as though the fader hadn't been moved at all. So, and then next there's the auto read button in the channel strip, and that plays back the automation data for the selected track. And it's one of 5 choices, which are auto off, auto read, auto touch, auto latch and auto write. Now the next button is the group button, and this is the group ID indicator or pop-up. For example, I could have a group drums for all the different drum tracks, but I happen not to have one here, so I've got no group here. Then we have the pan knob next, and it means I can pan the sound to the left, which increases the signal in the left channel and decreases it in the right channel, or conversely I can pan the sound to the right, which increases the sound in the right channel and decreases it in the left. Next there's the record on off button, and below that there's a solo button which will solo this track. You can actually have more than one track soloed at a time if you want, or the mute button, which will turn the track off so you can't hear it when you play back the mix. Then we have the fader, which of course deals with the volume of the track, and you can see that as I move the fader, the little volume indicator underneath it is changing like that. And then underneath that we have the DIN button, and selecting the off disables the whole track and all of its plugins. So this is normally used if you have too many tracks and there's not enough processing power. You can temporarily disable it, and then you don't have to actually delete it, you can get it back later. Now, I mentioned that I was going to deal with post-fader sends. This is for delay effects like reverb, and so you can have post-fader send. I'm going to send it to a bus, which is bus 1 or 2, and this is going into the auxiliary reverb track, and can see it's coming in on bus 1 and 2, coming out of track 1 on bus 1 and 2, and coming into the aux track on bus 1 and 2. And this is post fader, so however I move the fader will very definitely affect the amount of this particular effect. So if I reduce the amount of signal, the amount of effect will also reduce. Well, I hope that's made the channel strip in Pro Tools and the signal flow through it clearer for you. Thank you.